The wedding venue looked like something out of a fairy tale. White roses covered every surface. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead. Hundreds of guests filled the ballroom, all waiting to witness the union between one of the city's most powerful alphas and the Omega he adored. At least, that's what Noah Bennett believed. 23-year-old Noah stood in the bridal suite adjusting the silver cuff on his sleeve. His heart raced with nervous excitement. In less than an hour, he would marry the love of his life. Damien Blackwood, a wealthy alpha CEO, his alpha. A knock sounded on the door. One of the wedding coordinators entered. "Mr. Blackwood is looking for his cufflinks. They might be in his private suite." Noah smiled. Knowing Damien, they probably are. The coordinator laughed. He'd lose his head if it wasn't attached. Noah excused himself and headed toward Damien's preparation room. The hallway was quiet. As he approached the door, he heard voices. One was Damien's. The other belonged to Noah's best friend, Ethan. Noah smiled. His best friend had been helping organize the wedding all week. Then he heard laughter, followed by a voice. "Stop!" Noah froze. His hand touched the doorknob. The scent reaching him made his stomach twist. Alpha pheromones, omega pheromones, intertwined, intimate. His heart began pounding. Slowly, he pushed the door open, and the world shattered. Inside, Damien had Ethan pinned against the wall. Their lips were locked together. Their hands tangled in each other's clothing. Noah couldn't breathe. The bouquet slipped from his fingers. Both men turned. Before we find out what happens next, if you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another romance filled with drama, heartbreak, and second chances. And tell me in the comments, if you were Noah, what would you have done after seeing what he saw now? Let's get back to the story. Shock flashed across Damien's face. "Noah!" Noah stumbled backward. His ears rang, his vision blurred. The only thing he could see was Damien's mouth. On Ethan. The alpha he loved. The omega he trusted. His mate. His best friend. "Wait!" Damien shouted. Noah ran. He didn't answer calls. He didn't answer texts. He left before anyone could find him. By midnight, he was gone. No wedding. No explanation. No goodbye. Only silence. 3 months later, Noah arrived in a tiny town nearly 500 miles away. A place so small nobody knew the Blackwood name. Nobody knew him. Nobody asked questions. It was perfect. The owner of a local bakery hired him almost immediately. The work was simple. Early mornings, fresh bread, sweet pastries, kind customers. The elderly owner, Martha, treated him like family. For the first time in years, Noah could breathe. But the pain never truly disappeared. Every night he remembered what he'd seen. Every night he wondered why. Eventually, Martha convinced him to attend community college. "You've got a good head on your shoulders," she said. "Don't waste it." So Noah enrolled. 1 semester became 2, then 4 years. He earned a business degree while continuing to work at the bakery. The shy, heartbroken Omega slowly rebuilt himself. Piece by piece. Life became peaceful, safe, predictable, until graduation day. The university auditorium buzzed with excitement. Families cheered, students celebrated. Noah accepted his diploma with a smile. He had done it. He had survived. After the ceremony, he stepped outside and froze. Standing beside a black luxury SUV was a familiar alpha, taller than he remembered, broader, older, but unmistakable. Damien. Noah's heart stopped. "No!" He turned and ran, again. "Noah!" The deep voice followed. Footsteps thundered behind him. A hand grabbed his wrist. Noah spun around. "Let me go." Damien's jaw tightened. "Not this time." Tears burned Noah's eyes. "What do you want?" The alpha looked exhausted, like someone who hadn't truly rested in years. "I want an explanation." Noah stared at him in disbelief. An explanation? 4 years ago you disappeared. Noah laughed bitterly. You can't be serious. Tell me what happened, Noah finally snapped. What happened? His voice echoed across the campus lawn. I saw you, Damien blinked. What? I saw you with Ethan. The Alpha's eyes widened. Noah continued. The day of our wedding. Tears streamed down his face. You were kissing him. Silence. Then confusion appeared on Damien's face. Complete. Confusion. Ethan? Don't play dumb. Noah. Damien looked genuinely bewildered. What does Ethan have to do with anything? Noah stared. What? The Alpha ran a hand through his hair, then suddenly realization struck. Oh my God. What? Damien looked horrified. Noah, the man you saw wasn't me. Noah's breath caught. What? My twin brother. The world seemed to stop. Twin? Damien nodded. I found out about him shortly before the wedding. Noah stared blankly. What are you talking about? My father had an affair years ago. Damien swallowed. We met for the first time 2 weeks before our wedding. Noah's knees nearly gave out. You have a twin brother? Identical. Noah's mouth opened and closed. He and Ethan met during the wedding preparations. Damien rubbed his face. They hit it off immediately. Noah couldn't speak. Damien continued. They started dating. The man I saw was my brother Daniel. Noah's world tilted. No, that wasn't possible. 4 years. 4 years of pain. 4 years of loneliness. 4 years wasted. You're lying. Damien immediately pulled out his phone. After a few taps, he handed it over. A family photo filled the screen. Damien, another man who looked exactly like Damien. Ethan, a little boy sitting on their shoulders. The child couldn't have been older than 3. Daniel had his arm around Ethan. Both were smiling, happy, married, a family. Noah stared in shock. They got married 2 years ago. Damien's voice softened. That's their son, Liam. Noah felt dizzy. Oh my God. For 4 years he had believed he had been betrayed. For 4 years Damien had believed Noah abandoned him. All because of one terrible misunderstanding. Tears filled Noah's eyes. I'm sorry, Damien laughed bitterly. I spent years searching for you. The confession hit like a punch. What? I hired investigators. Damien's voice cracked. I checked every city I could think of. Noah looked away. I thought you cheated. And I thought you stopped loving me. Neither spoke. The weight of 4 lost years hung between them. Finally, Damien stepped closer. His scent reached Noah. The same scent Noah had never forgotten. The same scent that had haunted every lonely night. I never stopped loving you, Damien whispered. Noah's eyes filled again. Neither did he. Noah's hands were shaking so badly he almost dropped his apartment keys. The drive from the university had been painfully quiet. Too much had happened. Too much had changed. 4 years of heartbreak had been unraveled in a single afternoon. Beside him, Damien stood patiently in the hallway of the modest apartment building. Gone was the powerful CEO surrounded by bodyguards and luxury cars. Right now, he simply looked like a man afraid to lose someone again. Noah finally unlocked the door. The small apartment wasn't impressive. A second-hand couch sat in front of a television. Books filled every available shelf. A graduation cap rested on the kitchen counter. The scent of fresh bread lingered in the air from the bakery. Damien stepped inside and slowly looked around. A sad smile crossed his face. You built a life. Noah swallowed. I had to. Silence settled between them. 4 years. 4 years apart. 4 years of missed birthdays, missed holidays, missed anniversaries, missed everything. Noah set his keys down. I thought you hated me. Damien laughed softly. The sound held no humor. I was devastated. The honesty made Noah's chest ache. Damien loosened his tie before sitting on the couch. I kept thinking I'd done something wrong. Noah sat across from him. I thought you cheated. I know. The Alpha looked down at his hands. The day you disappeared, I searched the entire city. Noah's heart squeezed painfully. Damien continued quietly. I thought maybe you'd gotten cold feet. His voice cracked. Then days passed. Noah felt tears forming, then weeks. Damien looked up. I realized you weren't coming back. The raw pain in his eyes shattered what remained of Noah's defenses. For years, he'd imagined Damien moving on effortlessly, finding another Omega, living his perfect life. Instead, he found the same grief he'd carried himself. I wasn't okay either, Noah whispered. Damien nodded. I know. The room grew quiet. The air between them felt different now. Heavy, warm, familiar. Noah's breath hitched. His instincts stirred. At first he thought it was his imagination, then he saw Damien. Straighten. The Alpha noticed it too. Their sense. For 4 years the bond between them had been dormant, not broken. Dormant. Now, sitting only a few feet apart, their pheromones slowly began responding, sweet vanilla and honey, dark cedar and rain. The scents intertwined naturally, like they had never been apart. Noah! The Alpha's voice came out rough. Noah's Omega instincts immediately reacted. His heart pounded, his skin tingled, not from desire, from recognition, from home. For years he'd buried that feeling, ignored it, convinced himself it belonged to someone who had betrayed him. Now he realized the truth. The bond had never disappeared because his love never had. Damien slowly stood. Noah. The Omega looked up. The moment their eyes met, something inside both of them snapped into place. Not completely, not healed, but repaired enough to breathe again. Damien took one careful step forward, then another. Neither spoke, neither needed. 4 years of longing sat between them. 4 years of unanswered questions. 4 years of loneliness. When Damien finally reached him, he stopped, giving Noah room to pull away. Instead, Noah stood. The difference in height returned instantly. Familiar, comforting, painful, beautiful. I missed you, Damien whispered. Noah felt a tear slide down his cheek. I tried not to. The confession broke something in Damien. The Alpha reached up slowly, giving Noah every opportunity to stop him. When Noah didn't move, Damien gently brushed the tear away. The touch was so familiar, Noah nearly cried harder. I kept looking for you. I know. I never stopped. I know. Damien laughed shakily. You have no idea how many bakeries I visited over the last 4 years. That surprised a laugh out of Noah, a real laugh, the first one all day. The Alpha's eyes immediately softened. There he is. Noah's smile trembled. Damien looked at him like he was something precious, like he always had, like he never stopped. And suddenly, Noah couldn't hold back anymore. He stepped forward, straight into Damien's arms. The Alpha froze, then wrapped his arms around Noah so tightly it felt like he was afraid he'd disappear again. Noah buried his face in Damien's shoulder. For the first time in 4 years, he let himself cry, not from heartbreak, not from betrayal, from relief. Damien held him through every tear, through every shaky breath, through every ounce of pain they'd carried alone. Eventually Noah pulled back. Their eyes met again. Closer now, much closer. Neither could hide what remained. The bond pulsed warmly between them, not demanding, not forcing. Simply reminding them of what had always been there. Love, patient, wounded, but alive. I still love you, Noah admitted quietly. The words hung in the air. Damien's eyes immediately filled with tears. A broken smile appeared on his face. I know I should probably say something smooth right now. Noah laughed weakly. But I've been waiting 4 years to hear that. The Alpha rested his forehead gently against Noah's. And I still love you too. The Bond responded immediately. A warm feeling spread through both of them. Not the overwhelming rush of a new mating bond. Something deeper, stronger. A bond that had survived grief, distance, and misunderstanding. A bond that had waited. Noah closed his eyes. For the first time in years, the future didn't feel empty. It felt possible. And for the first time since he ran from that wedding, he allowed himself to believe that maybe they hadn't lost everything. Maybe this was simply the beginning of the life they should have had all along. Noah couldn't remember the last time he'd slept so peacefully. After hours of talking, crying, and finally beginning to mend the wounds between them, exhaustion had won. They had fallen asleep, curled together on Noah's couch. Nothing more. Just holding each other, relearning the comfort they'd both missed for 4 years. For the first time in a long time, neither of them felt alone. Then, bang, bang, bang! The apartment door rattled violently. Noah shot upright. What the bang, bang, bang? The pounding continued. Damien groaned beside him and glanced at the clock. 8 already? Noah rubbed his eyes. Who is trying to break down my door? Damien looked far less concerned than he should have. It's probably Ethan. Noah froze. What? Another series of aggressive knocks answered for him. Bang! Open the door! The familiar voice made Noah nearly fall off the couch. Ethan! Damien sighed. I told him I'd call when I found you. Noah stared at him. You told Ethan? I had to. Why? Damien gave him a look. Because he was devastated when you disappeared too. That immediately stunned Noah. What? The Alpha sat up and ran a hand through his messy hair. Noah, you vanished without saying a word. Ethan spent months blaming himself. Noah's stomach dropped. Another knock shook the door. I know you're in there, Damien winced. Yep, that's definitely him. Noah looked completely lost. But why would he care? Damien blinked. Then realization crossed his face. Oh? You still think Ethan betrayed you? Noah stared. Didn't he? The Alpha sighed heavily. Noah! Before he could answer, another voice shouted through the door. Damien Blackwood, if you don't open this door right now, I'm telling Daniel you cried during the Baby Shark movie! Noah blinked. Damien immediately stood. Okay, that's a threat. The Alpha headed toward the door. Noah followed cautiously. When Damien opened it, Ethan stormed inside like a hurricane. The Omega looked almost exactly the same, maybe a little older. Little more mature, but still unmistakably Ethan. And behind him stood another man, a man who looked exactly like Damien. Noah nearly had a heart attack. Oh my God! Daniel laughed. Yeah, that reaction never gets old. Noah pointed. There's 2 of him, Daniel grinned. Unfortunately. Damien rolled his eyes. Ethan, however, wasn't laughing. The Omega immediately marched toward Noah. His eyes were already shiny with emotion. You idiot! Noah blinked. What? You absolute idiot! Ethan, you cut me off! Noah froze. Ethan's voice cracked. You disappeared. The hurt in his voice hit harder than any anger could have. Noah stared at his former best friend. For the first time. He noticed the exhaustion in Ethan's expression, the lingering sadness, the old wound. You thought I betrayed you. Noah lowered his eyes. Ethan laughed bitterly. Do you know how many times I tried to contact you? Noah looked up. What? I called. His voice shook. I texted. A tear rolled down Ethan's cheek. I emailed. Noah's chest tightened. I even showed up at your apartment. The room became painfully quiet. Ethan folded his arms. When your landlord told me you'd moved away, I thought something terrible had happened. Noah felt sick. For years he'd imagined Ethan happily moving on, never caring, never missing him. Instead, "You were my best friend." Ethan's voice broke completely. "My family." Noah felt tears gathering. "I lost you too." Daniel immediately moved closer and wrapped an arm around Ethan's shoulders. The gesture was so natural, so loving. Noah finally saw it. The way Ethan leaned toward Daniel. The way Daniel looked at him, the wedding ring on Ethan's finger, the matching one on Daniel's hand. The little family photo Damien had shown him suddenly felt very real. "I was so angry," Ethan admitted. "At first." Noah nodded. "I deserved that." "No." Ethan shook his head. "I was angry because you didn't trust me enough to ask." That one hurt. Because it was true. Noah lowered his head. "I'm sorry." Silence followed. Then Ethan sighed, a long, exhausted sigh. "You really are an idiot." Noah laughed through his tears. "I know." Ethan immediately stepped forward and wrapped him in a hug. The sudden embrace shocked Noah. For a second he simply stood there. Then he hugged back, tightly. The years between them disappeared instantly. "I'm sorry," Noah whispered. Ethan's voice was muffled against his shoulder. "You better be." Noah laughed again. "So are we okay?" Ethan pulled back. He looked at Noah for a long moment, then flicked him directly on the forehead. "Ouch!" "Now we're okay," Daniel laughed. Damien looked relieved enough to collapse. The tension that had haunted all four of them for years finally seemed to ease. Then Ethan crossed his arms. "Good." The room went quiet. His eyes narrowed. "Now explain why it took 4 years for you two idiots to have one conversation." Damien immediately pointed at Noah. He ran. Noah pointed right back. "You never told me you had a twin." Daniel raised a hand. "In my defense, I didn't know I existed either." That broke everyone. Laughter filled the apartment, the first genuine laughter shared between all of them in years. And as Noah looked around the room, at Damien, Ethan, Daniel, and the family they had all somehow found despite everything, they finally began healing the pieces of the life that had been left unfinished. The laughter slowly faded. The apartment grew quiet again, not uncomfortable, just honest. The kind of silence that came when everyone finally stopped pretending everything was okay. Noah looked around the room, at Ethan, at Daniel, at Damien, the people he'd loved most, the people he'd lost and somehow found again. Taking a deep breath, Noah sat down. "I need to say something." Immediately, everyone listened. Noah folded his hands together. For a moment, he struggled to find the words. "I know this started because of a misunderstanding." Damien's expression softened. "Noah." The Omega held up a hand. "Please let me finish." Damien nodded. Noah looked down at his lap. "I know now that Daniel exists." Daniel raised a hand. Still weird hearing that. The comment earned a small laugh before Noah continued. "I know Ethan didn't betray me." Ethan's eyes watered slightly. "And I know Damien didn't cheat." The room remained silent. "But," Noah swallowed, "that doesn't erase what happened." Damien's shoulders stiffened slightly. Noah continued carefully. "I understand it was a misunderstanding." His voice trembled. "But for me, it wasn't one in that moment." The memories flooded back. The wedding venue, the open door, the kiss, the sense, the shock, the devastation. "When I opened that door," his voice cracked, "what I saw was real." Nobody argued. Because they couldn't. Noah looked directly at Damien. "I didn't imagine it." "No. You were standing there." Damien nodded. Daniel. But I didn't know that. No. And Ethan was there. Ethan sighed. I was. Noah took a shaky breath. So, when people say it was all a misunderstanding, he shook his head. It doesn't feel that simple. The room became very quiet. Noah looked at all of them. I made a mistake. His eyes filled with tears. A huge mistake. Ethan sat beside him. Damien remained silent. Noah continued. I should have stayed. Yes. I should have asked questions. Yes. I should have trusted the people I loved enough to listen. His voice broke. Yes. Tears slid down his cheeks. But I wasn't crazy. Nobody answered, because they knew he was right. I wasn't some irrational person who ran because of a rumor. His hands clenched. I saw the man I loved kissing my best friend an hour before our wedding. The words hung heavily in the room. Daniel finally spoke. When you put it that way. He winced. Yeah, that's really bad. Even Damien couldn't argue, because if their situations had been reversed, he probably would have reacted the same way. Noah wiped his eyes. We all share some blame. Ethan nodded slowly. Damien looked thoughtful. Daniel rubbed the back of his neck. Noah continued. You didn't know I hadn't met Daniel. Damien sighed. No. Ethan didn't know what I'd seen. No. I didn't stay long enough to learn the truth. Ethan nodded. No. Noah took another deep breath. So yes. He looked directly at Damien. I made the biggest mistake. Pain flickered across the Alpha's face. But I can't pretend those 4 years didn't happen. Damien's eyes softened immediately. Noah looked around his apartment, his books, his furniture, his graduation cap, his life. I built something here. The Alpha followed his gaze. I know. I found a family. He smiled faintly. A bakery owner who practically adopted me. Ethan smiled. That sounds nice. It is. Noah looked back at Damien. So I can't just go back. The Alpha's expression tightened slightly. I know. I can't wake up tomorrow and act like we're 23 again. His voice softened. We aren't. The truth settled over everyone. 4 years had changed them. They weren't the same people anymore. Noah looked directly into Damien's eyes. I still love you. The confession immediately made the Alpha's breath catch. But love isn't a magic reset button. Damien nodded slowly. Noah could see the hurt. There. The hope. The fear. Everything. I need time. The Alpha was quiet for several seconds. Then finally he nodded. Okay. The simple acceptance made Noah's chest tighten. Damien sat down opposite him. For the first time since arriving, the Heartbreak Alpha looked vulnerable. Not powerful, not wealthy, not untouchable, just hurt. I need to say something too. Noah nodded. Damien folded his hands together. I'm happy. The statement surprised everyone. The Alpha smiled sadly. Happy that you're alive. Noah felt his throat tighten. Happy you found a life. A pause. Happy you graduated. Another pause. Happy you still love me. His smile disappeared. But I'm still hurt. The honesty struck Noah like a physical blow. Damien looked down. I spent 4 years wondering why I wasn't enough. Noah immediately looked away. The guilt hurt. The Alpha continued. I know why. You left now. His voice remained calm. But that doesn't mean the pain disappeared. Noah nodded. He understood. Damien met his eyes. You left so easily. The words weren't angry. That somehow made them hurt more. You didn't stay. Noah's eyes filled again. You didn't ask. I know. You didn't trust me. I know. The Alpha took a shaky breath. I loved you enough to marry you. His voice cracked. And then you were gone. Noah felt tears sliding down his face again. For years, he'd only thought about his own pain, not Damien's, not Ethan's, not anyone else's. Damien wiped at his eyes. I still love you too. The bond between them pulsed warmly, steady, patient, waiting. But trust, he hesitated. Trust is going to take time. Noah nodded immediately. It should. Damien looked surprised. The Omega gave a sad smile. If our positions were reversed, I'd feel the same way. The Alpha laughed softly. You'd probably make me suffer. A little. A lot. A lot. That finally earned a genuine laugh from everyone. The tension eased again. Not gone, but lighter, manageable, real. For the first time, they weren't pretending. Everything was fixed, because it wasn't. 4 years of hurt couldn't disappear overnight, but neither could 4 years of love. And as the evening stretched on, with Ethan and Daniel eventually ordering takeout and refusing to leave until everyone ate, something important happened. Nobody demanded forgiveness. Nobody demanded reconciliation. Nobody demanded they immediately become what they once were. Instead, they simply sat together, talking, laughing, remembering, beginning again. Not as the people they used to be, but as the people they had become. And for all of them, that felt like the first truly honest step toward healing. The takeout. Containers were spread across Noah's tiny coffee table. Ethan had somehow taken over the entire apartment within 20 minutes of arriving. Daniel sat beside him, occasionally stealing food from Ethan's plate and earning an elbow to the ribs for his efforts. Damien occupied the armchair nearest Noah, not touching him, not crowding him, just close enough that Noah could feel the faint comfort of his scent. It was strange. For years Noah had imagined this moment, but he had always imagined screaming, anger, accusations. Instead, they were sitting around eating Chinese food and discussing the last 4 years of their lives. It felt oddly normal, and maybe that was what made it hurt, the realization of everything they'd missed. So, Ethan said, pointing a chopstick at Noah, tell us about college. Noah blinked. College? Yes, college. Ethan folded his arms. You vanished for 4 years. I deserve details. Daniel nodded. We deserve details. Damien quietly added, I'd like details too. Noah smiled despite himself. Well, he rubbed the back of his neck. It wasn't easy. Ethan immediately leaned forward. What did you study? Business management. Damien looked impressed. Really? Noah nodded. I wanted to open my own bakery. Someday. The Alpha stared at him. A bakery? The smile on Noah's face softened. Yeah. Ethan immediately grinned. That fits you. What does that mean? You've always liked taking care of people. Daniel nodded. He's right. Noah laughed. Making people happy with food isn't exactly revolutionary. It kind of is, Damien said quietly. Everyone looked at him. The Alpha shrugged. My company has thousands of employees. Noah raised an eyebrow. You always hated corporate life. Damien snorted. I still do. That earned several surprised looks. What? Damien asked. You run $1 billion company, Ethan said. And you're supposed to enjoy that. Damien rolled his eyes. I enjoy helping people. Noah stared. The statement sounded exactly like something 23-year-old Damien would have said. For a moment, Noah saw the man he'd fallen in love with. Not the CEO, not the powerful businessman. Just Damien. His Damien. The realization made his chest ache. So what happened after I left? Noah asked softly. The room became quieter. Damien leaned back in his chair. A lot? Noah nodded. Tell me. The alpha looked thoughtful. Honestly? Honestly. Damien sighed. I stopped living for a while. The blunt honesty shocked everyone. Even Ethan looked uncomfortable. Damien. The alpha waved him off. It's true. His eyes settled on Noah. I went to work. A pause. I came home. Another pause. I slept. The silence stretched. I repeated that for about 2 years. Noah's chest hurt. You never dated? Damien laughed. The sound held absolutely no humor. No. No one. No one. Noah looked down. The guilt twisted deeper. Damien noticed, immediately. No. The alpha's voice softened. We're not doing that. Noah looked up. What? You're not carrying all of this. The firmness surprised him. Damien continued. I made choices too. What choices? The alpha laughed bitterly. I buried myself in work instead of therapy. Ethan immediately pointed. Thank you. Damien rolled his eyes. Daniel started laughing. Ethan has been saying that for years. I was right. You usually are. Ethan looked very pleased by that answer. Noah couldn't help smiling. Then something occurred to him. He looked at Ethan. How did you and Daniel get together? The room immediately changed. Daniel groaned. Ethan turned bright red. Noah's eyes widened. Oh, this is good. It's not. It absolutely is. Damien looked delighted. For the first time all evening, Daniel sighed dramatically. Apparently your best friend has terrible taste. Ethan smacked his arm. You married me. Exactly my point, Noah burst out laughing. The easy affection between them was impossible to miss. Eventually Daniel relented. We met during wedding. Planning. Noah winced. Right. Daniel nodded. At first Ethan hated me. I did not. You absolutely did. I disliked you. You called me an arrogant alpha. You were an arrogant alpha. Damien started laughing. He's got you there. Daniel looked offended. Noah hadn't laughed this hard in years, and somehow that realization made him sad, because moments like this should have happened long ago. They should have shared birthdays, holidays, dinners, movie nights. Instead, they'd lost 4 years. 4 years they'd never get back. His smile faded slightly. Damien noticed immediately. Of course he did. He always had. The alpha's expression softened. What are you thinking? Noah hesitated. Everyone looked at him. Finally, he sighed. The same thing I keep thinking. Which is? Noah looked around the room. You all look happy. Ethan smiled softly. We are. Noah nodded. I can see it. Then he looked down. And I hate that I missed it. The room fell silent. Noah swallowed. I missed your wedding. Ethan's eyes watered. I missed Liam being born. Daniel nodded quietly. I missed birthdays, holidays, everything. His voice cracked. And that's my fault. Ethan immediately shook his head. No. Noah looked up. It is. No. The Omega moved to sit beside him. Noah, listen to me. Noah reluctantly met his gaze. Ethan's eyes were gentle. You made a mistake. A pause. A huge one. Daniel nodded. A truly impressive one. Ethan elbowed him. Ow. But Ethan continued. One mistake doesn't erase who you are. Noah stared. Ethan smiled sadly. You were hurt. You were scared. You thought the people you trusted most had betrayed you. His voice softened. And honestly? He glanced at Daniel. If I had walked in on that scene without context. Daniel sighed. Yeah, Ethan nodded. I probably would have panicked too. Noah felt tears threatening again. The forgiveness in Ethan's eyes felt overwhelming. Then Damien spoke. We can't get those years back. Everyone looked at him. The Alpha's gaze remained fixed on Noah. But we do have today. The room became quiet. And hopefully tomorrow. Noah's breath caught. Damien wasn't asking for promises, wasn't demanding reconciliation, wasn't demanding anything. He was simply offering a chance. One day at a time. The Omega looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. I think I can do tomorrow. The smile that spread across Damien's face was small, but real, and for now, that was enough. For a moment, nobody spoke. The simple promise hung in the air. I think I can do tomorrow. Not forever. Not a relationship. Not another engagement. Just tomorrow. And somehow that meant more to Damien than any grand declaration ever could. The Alpha smiled softly. I'd like that. Noah felt his chest tighten. 4 years ago, Damien would have pushed, demanded answers, demanded certainty. But this Damien was different, older, wiser, more patient. And Noah realized he was different too. The young Omega who had run from the wedding would have done almost anything to avoid difficult conversations. The man sitting here now knew healing wasn't something you could sprint toward. It had to be walked through, step by step. Eventually, Ethan glanced at the clock. His eyes widened. Oh, wow! Daniel looked over. It's almost midnight. Seriously? Seriously? Ethan stood. We should probably leave. Noah immediately frowned. So soon? The words slipped out before he could stop them. Everyone froze. Then Ethan grinned. Oh, Noah groaned. Don't. Oh. No, Daniel looked delighted. Oh yes, Ethan pointed dramatically. He missed us. I did not. You absolutely did. Noah rolled his eyes. I just got you back. The words escaped before he could filter them. Immediately, the room fell silent. Noah felt heat rush into his face. Damien's expression softened. Ethan's eyes watered. Daniel smiled, and suddenly Noah realized the truth. He had gotten them back. Not completely, not perfectly, but they were here, alive, together. After 4 years of believing, that chapter of his life was closed forever. The realization hit harder than expected. Ethan walked over and wrapped him in another hug. This time, Noah hugged him back immediately. No disappearing again. Noah laughed weakly. No disappearing again. I'm serious. I know. You have my number now. I know. My address. I know. My husband's number. Daniel waved. Hello? My son's number when he's old enough. Noah laughed through tears. Okay. Only then did Ethan finally release him. Daniel pulled Noah into a brief hug next. I'm glad we finally met properly. Noah smiled. Me too. Daniel leaned closer. And for the record, what? I would have punched Damien if he'd actually cheated. Damien looked offended. You say that every time. Because it's true. Noah laughed. The sound filled the apartment warmly. Eventually, Ethan and Daniel gathered their things. The moment they stepped into the hallway, Ethan pointed at both Noah and Damien. I'm expecting updates. Damien groaned. No. Yes. No. Absolutely yes. Daniel was already pulling his husband away. Come on before he starts making spreadsheets. I already have spreadsheets. The door closed. Silence returned. Real silence this time. No distractions, no buffer, just Noah and Damien, alone. The reality of that settled over the room. Noah suddenly became very aware of how small his apartment was. Damien leaned against the kitchen counter, looking strangely nervous. Noah hadn't seen Damien nervous in years. It was almost comforting. So, neither seemed to know what came next. Eventually, Damien chuckled. We're terrible at this. Noah smiled. Apparently, another comfortable silence settled between them. Then Damien's eyes wandered around the apartment. The books, the framed graduation photo, the bakery apron hanging by the door, the little life Noah had built. It's nice. Noah looked around. My apartment? Your life. The Omega blinked. Damien smiled. You seem happy here. Noah thought about it. The early mornings at the bakery, college classes, study groups, Martha's endless mothering, the friends he'd made, the quiet little town. I am. Damien nodded. I'm glad. Noah stared at him. There was no jealousy, no bitterness, just genuine happiness that somehow made Noah love him more. The realization startled him, not because the love was still there. He'd already admitted that. No. What surprised him was how naturally it returned, not as some overwhelming force, but as something familiar, like coming home after years away. Damien seemed to notice the shift. His voice softened. What? Noah smiled faintly. You're still you. The Alpha looked confused. I should hope so. No. Noah shook his head. He searched for the words. I spent years imagining who you'd become. Damien listened quietly. I thought you'd move on. A pause. I thought you'd hate me. Another pause. I thought success would change you. Damien smiled sadly. It changed some things. Noah nodded. I can see that. The Alpha looked at him carefully. What about you? What about me? You changed too. Noah laughed softly. Yeah. The Alpha stepped closer, not enough to crowd him, just enough to matter. I like who you became. Noah's breath caught. Damien's eyes were warm. Honest. You've always been kind. His gaze drifted toward the graduation cap. Now you're stronger too. The compliment landed somewhere deep inside Noah, because strength wasn't something he'd ever associated with himself, not after running away, not after spending years hiding, but maybe surviving counted for something, maybe rebuilding counted, maybe healing counted. Noah looked down. Sometimes I don't feel strong. Damien's answer came immediately. I know. The simple understanding nearly broke him. The Alpha took another small step closer, close enough now that Noah could smell cedar and rain again. The scent wrapped around him like a blanket, comforting, safe. I don't think strength is never breaking. Damien's voice was quiet. I think it's getting back up afterward. Noah felt tears threatening again. He laughed shakily. You got wiser. Damien smiled. Therapy. Noah blinked, then laughed. A real laugh. The Alpha joined him, and for several minutes they simply stood there smiling at each other. No expectations, no pressure, no demands. Just two people who had spent 4 years loving each other from a distance, learning how to stand together again. Eventually Noah glanced toward the guest room. You know? Damien raised an eyebrow. What? You did fly halfway across the country. Technically, I drove. That's worse. A lot worse, Noah smiled. The guest room is yours. Damien looked surprised. Then hopeful. Then careful. You sure? Noah nodded. The Alpha's smile was soft. Thank you. As they prepared for bed, neither of them said what they were both thinking. Neither mentioned how much they dreaded the morning. Because morning meant choices, decisions, reality. But for tonight, that could wait. For tonight, Damien was only a few feet away. For tonight, Noah knew the truth. And for the first time in 4 years, both of them fell asleep, believing that maybe, just maybe, their story wasn't over after all. Their laughter slowly faded, yet neither of them let go. For a long moment, Noah simply stared at their joined hands. 4 years ago, holding Damien's hand had been second nature. Now it felt new again. Fragile. Precious. Something that could still be lost. The realization made him squeeze a little tighter. Damien immediately squeezed back. Neither commented on it. Neither needed to. The stars stretched overhead. The small town was quiet. For the first time in years, Noah felt content. Not happy, not healed, just content. And somehow that felt more real. The next morning, Noah woke up to the smell of cinnamon rolls. He immediately frowned. Martha. From the kitchen came Damien's laugh. Good morning. Noah shuffled into the apartment wearing sweatpants and an oversized shirt. His hair was sticking up in every direction. Damien nearly smiled himself to death. Noah pointed suspiciously. Why are there cinnamon rolls? The alpha lifted a box. Martha. Of course, she has keys. What? Apparently she has keys. Noah groaned. The alpha laughed. She let herself in at 7. 7? She said, and I quote, If you're dating my Noah, you better learn to survive interruptions. Noah dropped into a chair. I can't believe this is my life. Damien set a cinnamon roll in front of him. I think it's kind of charming. You're insane. Probably. They spent breakfast laughing about Martha, about Ethan, about Liam, about everything, and Noah realized something. The conversations were becoming easier, not because the hurt was gone, but because they were building something new on top of it. That afternoon they were walking through town when Noah noticed Damien staring at a vacant storefront. The alpha had stopped moving entirely. Noah followed his gaze. The building sat 2 doors down from the bakery. Large windows, brick exterior. A for lease sign. What? Damien blinked. What? You've been staring at that building for 5 minutes. No, I haven't. You absolutely have. Damien looked guilty, which was answer enough. Noah narrowed his eyes. What are you thinking? The alpha hesitated. That immediately made Noah suspicious. What are you thinking, Damien? The alpha sighed. I was wondering. Dangerous. I know. What? Damien gestured toward the storefront. You said you wanted your own bakery someday. Noah froze. The alpha immediately looked nervous. As a future goal. The nervousness grew. I'm not suggesting anything. More nervous. Definitely not. Noah stared. You absolutely are. I absolutely am. The Omega laughed. The alpha rubbed the back of his neck. It just made me think. Noah looked at the storefront again. His dream. The dream he'd quietly carried for years. One he'd never told many people about. Because dreams felt dangerous, especially after losing so much. You remembered. Damien looked confused. Of course I remembered. The answer came so quickly, so naturally, that Noah's chest tightened. You told me once. The alpha smiled softly. When we were 22. Noah's breath caught, Damien remembered. After all this time, after 4 years, after everything, he remembered. You said you'd call it Honey and Hearth. Noah's eyes widened. You remember the name? I remember everything. The quiet confession hit harder than any grand declaration because Noah believed him. He really did remember. The dream, the name, the late-night conversations, all of it. For a moment neither spoke. Then Noah smiled. A real smile. One that reached his eyes. You're still not buying me a bakery. Damien looked offended. I wasn't. You were. I was. Noah laughed. The alpha joined him, and together they continued walking. Later that evening, Damien received a video call. The screen filled with Ethan, Daniel, and Liam. The 3 of them were clearly together, and clearly up to something. Damien immediately looked suspicious. No, we haven't said anything yet. No, Daniel laughed. You're getting good at this. What do you want? Liam popped into view. Uncle Noah. Noah immediately appeared beside Damien. The little boy beamed. There he is, Noah smiled. Hey, buddy, Liam grinned mischievously. When are you moving here? The apartment went silent. Daniel started laughing. Ethan looked horrified. Liam! The child blinked. What? Nobody had an answer, because, unfortunately, everyone had wondered the same thing. Noah glanced at Damien. Damien glanced at Noah. The question hung there, unanswered, not because they didn't care, because they weren't ready. Not yet. Ethan quickly changed the subject. But later that night, after the call ended, Noah found himself staring out the apartment window, thinking, the small town below, the bakery, Martha, his friends, his life. Then he thought about Damien, about Chicago, about the family he'd regained, about the future neither of them could quite see yet. A warm hand settled against his back. Damien. Noah didn't turn around. Neither spoke. Eventually, Damien asked softly, What are you thinking about? Noah smiled faintly. The same thing you are. The alpha's hand stilled. Neither needed to explain, because for the first time since finding each other again, the question wasn't whether they loved each other. They did. The question wasn't whether they could forgive each other. They were trying. No. The question that lingered now was much bigger. How did two people who had built separate lives build one together? And for the first time, that challenge felt less frightening than hopeful, because, unlike 4 years ago, this time they would face it together. What would you have done if you were in Noah's place? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love reading your opinions and theories. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another heartwarming romance filled with drama, second chances, and happily ever afters. Until next time, take care, and remember, sometimes love finds its way back home. See you in the next story.